In this episode, we go over the massive progress that I've had in between episodes. I finished up the building projects that I started, and we get to finish out the quests, and then say goodbye to this world as I start on some new ventures that I get to tell you all about. So buckle up, let's get going. Hey everybody, it's Ozone, and we're back on the Vault Hunters arcade mode server. In between episodes, I have been a super busy boy. Can you look at those levels down there? Level 50! At the end of the last episode, I felt like that was what I needed to do in order to finish out the quests, and I wanted to finish out the quests because, well, I expect this is going to be the last episode from this server. There are some big new plans around the corner that have already been spilled, but if you haven't seen my community post, we'll talk about that a little later in the video. Now, in between the episodes, I ran 11 vaults in order to get here, and honestly, 11 vaults really isn't that many in order to get to the levels that I did. I think I progressed like 12 or 13 levels. I kind of forget, but that's about one level for every vault that I've run, and not all of them were completed. In fact, not all of them were even successes. Yeah, I had my first death on this server. Oh no! Can you believe it? I actually died in a vault. I was kind of surprised myself. Let's take a look at that clip. Now that particular run, I wasn't really narrating. I didn't even have my microphone hooked up, so that's why there's no cursing and other explanations as I'm playing along. But yeah, I went into a hard dungeon with spiders of all things, and the champion spawned and kind of trapped me. If I'd just run out of the room, I probably would have been okay. But, oh well. You know what? Live and learn. But in spite of that unfortunate circumstance, I got a lot of other work done too. Namely, I got all the building done outside. Do you want to see? I'm kind of proud of it. Let's go! Ta-da! My big old domed vault portal is, I would say, done. I am happy with it. I really like the way the shape turned out. The texture on the bottom, this is all andesite and various bricks dotted with some various vault stone types. I like it. The walls, I don't know. They're not really necessary, but I like it. And then I've got everything kind of overgrown with some spruce leaves. Again, kind of simplistic. And looking at it from far away, I like the shape quite a bit. The dome is just the right domey amount. The pergola canopy thingy, I think, sticks out well, and all in all, the whole thing just is framed very nicely. I really like it. It's definitely not one of the more complicated builds, but I think it adds a lot to this area. Don't you? Like I said, it may be kind of simplistic, but I'm happy with it. And the other project is down here. I have completed the sitting area in my base. I think this looks really cozy. I like the bookshelves. I went with a slightly different wood color on there, and I think it works pretty well. I really like the fireplace. Again, it's simplistic, but it's the center of the room. And then we got some nice couches and tables and a little potted plant. It definitely needs some more details. I want to have some like potted plants, but I really don't have any clay, so I couldn't make any potted plants, and I just kind of ran out of time. But yeah, there could definitely be a lot more details added to it, but I love it. It's very homey. And it serves absolutely no purpose at all. But, you know, that's what you do with Minecraft builds, isn't it? Now, additionally, I did some work on the staircase up to my second level, but maybe more importantly is I added yet another level up here as an exposure into the hill face. Now, obviously, all of this is still a lot of work in progress, but honestly, I just like the way that it looks against the hillside. I've got my window right there, I've got the second floor window there, and I've got the third floor window there. It actually gives quite a bit of opportunity to dig out the rest of this hill space and create a lot of room. Although I don't expect that I'm going to need it. And I need to be a little careful not to run into magpie space over there. I like the little windows sticking out of the hillside. You know, don't you? I think they look really good. And so, speaking of other progress, the 11 vaults that I ran, we had 7 successes. 7! Again, I progressed like 11 or 12 levels with 7 successful vaults. Whoa. Now, as you can see, I had a really good run of elixir vaults. A couple of them I did fail, but overall, the elixir vaults were very kind to me. Plus a couple monoliths, and look at that, I got lucky on another scav. Scavs are largely luck-based, in my opinion, although the elixirs can definitely be luck-based as well. The one that I failed, I wasn't getting hardly any elixir from any of the mobs or any of the chests that I was opening. It was just like everything was minimal amount of elixir, and honestly, a little frustrating. But in addition to a lot of completions, I did a lot of bounties too, and so I've got my 12 bounty crates here. And of course, completing all these bounties does help a lot with the XP requirements, but not nearly as much as the XP that you get from successfully completing a vault objective. Am I right? But the point of all this progress was so that we could work on the quests and complete the quests. And now at the end of the last episode, I got a little confused by this quest. I read it too quickly. The quest wants us to apply a seal of the architect, specifically to a vault crystal. And that's because the seal of the architect is what lays the groundwork for the next quest, dealing with inscriptions. Now, the seal of the architect is a bit on the expensive side. It's an entire vault diamond block just for one crystal. But in theory, it should be worth it because you can do some really great things with an architect vault. So let's get ourselves a crystal. Bring! And apply the seal in order to make a new crystal with a layout of architect. Quest complete, and we get some more blank seals, which isn't that big of a deal. All right, inscriptions. For the next quest, we have to apply an inscription to an architect crystal. Now, fortunately, I've been able to get a fair number of inscriptions from all of my vault adventuring, but these inscriptions are all blank. I can go ahead and add them, but we also need to make an inscription for a specific room, because that's kind of the whole point of this. With the seal of the architect, you're trying to create a vault with the specific rooms that you're interested in. And initially, those rooms have a very low completion and instability number, and then you need to add more of these blank inscriptions in order to add to the completion. Basically, this one is saying it adds 12% completion and 1.2% instability, and a minute and 19 seconds of time. And so you add multiple of these inscriptions in order to make the completion higher and the time longer. But the risk is to add to the instability. And as the instability grows, so does your chances for getting curses or even having your crystal locked completely. Now that's a very quick overview of inscriptions, and really in order to get more details, you should check out my other video titled Everything You Need to Know About New Inscriptions in Vault Hunters, from when inscriptions were added several months ago. Now the quest book just kind of mentions the fact that you need an inscription table in order to be able to do these things. And this inscription table is pretty expensive. I mean, we're talking another diamond block, a couple of black chromatic steel ingots, which is pretty expensive, but the base is a catalyst infusion table, which is even more chromatic steel and some netherite. So starting off with the catalyst infusion table, which by the way, we've made one already, but we need another one to be able to craft this thing up. And then of course we got to use it right away in order to make the inscription table. So out of room. All right, looks like we need to move everything down a little bit. I'll be right back after I've made some room. Oh, there we go. Brand new spot for it. So in the inscription table, this is where we can craft the inscription for the specific room that we're after. I like my mine rooms, right? So I can create an inscription for a mine room, and then the vault will have only the mine room. But look at the costs on this. 256 Larimar, 16 gold. Wow, it's going to take a lot. 8 echo gems. I don't even have that much yet. So these inscription pieces that you're trying to create here are quite expensive. Now obviously these Omega rooms are going to take more resources than some of the challenge rooms. Like an X marks the spot room takes a lot less resources. Or a Wild West room, for instance. But you have to have at least one of these on your architect crystal so that it has a room that it can generate. You can have more than one. The real question is whether you'll have the time to adequately work through the room, because these crystals have time that gets accumulated by the inscription pieces, not your standard flat 25 minutes. Now, fortunately for the purposes of the quest, we only need to apply an inscription to the crystal. I don't think that we have to actually make one of the special ones. So let's try to get over here and grab one of the inscriptions that I've already collected. Yeah, this 12% completion sounds really good. Let's get that and add it. So as you can see in the output, it's only going to be 11.9% complete, have a minute and 29 seconds of time, and still gives us a low instability of 1.2%. And remember, the instability is when bad things happen. So we completed the quest, and we didn't get any bad things that happened with this. And for completing the quest, we get some of these inscription pieces, which can be used to craft the inscriptions that we need to make. Nice. The next thing we have is all about keys. The dungeons have special treasure rooms that get generated and need special keys to unlock. And so it looks like we're going to need to make one of those keys. Now, along the way, we've been finding these key pieces, which are what's used in order to craft the blank key, but you also need a key mold, which is more black chromatic steel, quite expensive actually, and a perfect echo gem, which is going to be all of the echo that I currently have. But I can do it, so let's get this done. That one kind of hurts. I don't know that I could make another one. But we got this done, and now we can surround it by key pieces in order to make that blank key. But making the blank key is only the first part. When we look back at the previous quest where we had to craft the blank key, it said the blank keys are combined with a cluster. And this is meaning a cluster of player gems. So an Escalium cluster, or a Gorgonite cluster, or something like that. And that will make the key specific to that player. Now looking at my wall here, we have more Opaline gems than anything else. So let's grab a few of those and make one of these clusters. And so with a perfect black opal in the middle and all of our player gems around the outside, we can make one Opaline cluster, which we combine with an anvil and the key in order to make an Opaline key. And this key will only open the Opaline doors. So not only do you have to find a treasure room, you also have to find the treasure room for this particular player, which can make it kind of hard to do. But getting back to the quest at hand, it looks like we have to find one of those doors and open it, and then open one of the treasure chests inside. Now these treasure rooms are particularly good with treasure. I mean, really, really good. They're supposed to be, right? And the treasure chests that are inside are also particularly good, better than any of the other normal chests that you'll find in the vaults. But the key to open them is super expensive as well, so yeah, it makes sense that it should be. But let's make another key mold and another key or two if we can, so that we can find this treasure door just a little more easily. Another blank key. And now what gem do I have a lot of that I think I could use? I think it might be Gorgonite. So now we've got a Gorgonite key too. I just don't have enough echo to make any more of the blank keys. But at this point, there's two different treasure doors that we can try to find and open, and that'll make things go just a little bit easier, I think. But it looks like we need to run at least one more vault before we can try to find this treasure key door and get it opened up. So I think I'm going to be focusing on that pretty much just exclusively, right? I'm not going to focus on the vault objective at all. Just trying to find one of these treasure room doors. So it looks like it's time for perhaps one last vault. But before I do, I want to show something that I feel like works pretty well and that I've implemented since the last episode. This double patch right here is labeled as non-stackables. And yeah, I get all of my vault gear in here because of this whitelist. If you try to drag things in here after they've already got the blue or the yellow color to them, you'll end up with different NBT data. And while you can put one of each kind of shield, scrappy, common, epic, etc. in here, these do not have the NBT data associated with them. I dragged these from the JEI and put them as the whitelist filter here, and it works really, really well. All I have is a pickup upgrade, and it's not even the special one. I don't know how to make gems go into here, however. I believe if I make the more advanced pickup upgrade, I can tell it to ignore NBT data, and then the gems will be able to go in here. But for right now, this is working really well for collecting the vault gear that I've run across. And, well, as you can see, I've gotten quite a bit of it since the last episode from all the vault runs that I've got. But that's not the point for right now. The point for right now is simply to get the treasure. And remember, we've got 2 treasure keys, Gorgonite and Opaline, so that's what I'm going to be looking for. Let's go. Okay, and we're off. Now, unfortunately, I can't spec my hunter to be part of this, right? That just doesn't work. Now, these treasure doors can be pretty much anywhere inside the vault. I think they're typically in the lower or upper sections, but yeah, it's going to take a little bit of exploration to find them. Perfect. I really did a good job on that guy, didn't I? It's very slow going because, like I said, these treasure doors can be located pretty much anywhere. So you kind of just got to do a lot of running around and clearing a lot of rooms, essentially, before you can really find them. I didn't find any doors at all in this room, so it's going to take a little bit of time. We're going to have to come back later when we actually find something, it seems. Well, we finally found a door, but it's a pizza night door, not the one that we're after. But it's a good start. There's still a lot of places to check up here, though, and not much time to do it in, honestly. That's a champion. Wow, that was a little hectic. But unfortunately, I'm just not able to find any rooms. Oh, they're a little more rare than you might expect. And clearly I need to have better gear. I took quite a beating there and yeah, wasn't doing so good. I need better equipment all around. Now, fortunately, I somewhere had another Echo Gem, so I do think that I could make one more key mold. And I have all of these crates over here, which may have some echoes or something in them. So I think we need to open these up and see what we get. So let's go. Boom. Yep, casually throwing out Echo Gems here. I don't see a lot of echoes. There's a whole bunch of everything in here, which is, I'm going to have to, oh my, so much stuff. 2 relics at least. All right, let me come back to this. But even though I don't expect that I'll need any of the resources from these boxes, what's the point of having them if we don't open them up? That's part of the fun, isn't it? So let's open up all the bounty crates. Oh, so satisfying. Well, lots of good stuff. And I'm going to have to sort through the armor because I need better armor and weapons for these level vaults, but no echoes, which was the whole point of all of this. Oh well, I'll make up another key and figure out some armor and let's do another vault run. Oh no, I thought I had enough of everything, but I don't have enough key fragments. Arg! So it looks like we're stuck with 2 keys. Now another thing that could really help me out in the next vault are these 3 trinkets. Let's get these identified up, and maybe there'll be something amazing with those. So we've got a spellbook, increases the ability power. That's awesome. So we got Idona's Pendant, which gives me a lot more soul chance, and Giant's Hearts, 25% more health. Wow. And I've been running my Carapace. I've still got 18 uses on that, but I do like the spellbook. That'll give me a lot more ability power for dealing with all of those big mobs. So, very nice. By the way, you like my new look? Yep. Some of the armor was only a little bit better, but the sword, oh my gosh. The sword is amazing with a legendary 30 attack damage bonus. So good. That's going to help out so much. All right, one more vault run to try to find the right treasure room. I don't want to belabor this because a lot of people are going to have a whole bunch more opportunities to try to find this, and much more than I do right now. So if we don't get it this time, we'll just have to cheat a little bit. But let's see what we can find. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go. Looks like we have a fall or maybe a Halloween themed vault. Pretty neat. Start off, we got a dungeon door, which isn't the same. Not seeing the treasure room door here, so let's move on out. Not seeing anything up here either. Okay, first room seems like it's a bust. Woo, that hurts. Well, we got a key door, another pizza night. I'm pretty sure we had pizza night last time. Slightly disappointing. Oh, another door. It's another pizza night. Oh my god. Well, that is pretty annoying. I found 2 more pizza night doors and that was it. And I had the Pirate Cove room, which was amazing to try to loot, and I didn't even stick around to try to do all of it. So many good things. I might have even been able to complete this scav, honestly, as well. But my goal was to find the treasure chest and complete the quest, and that was a fail. Well, yep, I said I would give it one more try, and then we'd, get a little creative. I mean, literally creative. Oh my, look, it's a treasure chest. It just happened to appear in my house. Oh, but hey, we completed the quest, and that's what's important. Now, one of the things that you can find in these treasure rooms are lost bounties, which are super special kinds of bounties that go into your bounty table. And you get one for free once you actually complete the quest. Woohoo! And now that I put the legendary bounty into the bounty table, you can see that we get an incredible amount of XP plus an incredible amount of items from it for finding 2 inscriptions in the vault. Not inscription pieces, but inscriptions. And this can actually be random, right? Any bounty that can show up over here in the bounty section can also show up over here in the legendary section. You just get a lot better rewards and a lot more XP because of it. And now we get to talk about artifacts. The end goal of the game, everything that we're striving to do in a full playthrough of this game is to collect the 25 artifacts. And so all you need is an artifact fragment. No, you have to acquire an artifact. And artifacts are quite rare. So, we had these 7 completion crates back here, and I was really hoping that I could get another artifact from it. But nope, fortunately, I have collected 1 artifact in this playthrough. So let's pull that, and yay, we complete the quest. Which means as a reward, we get an artifact fragment. Now, these artifact fragments can be had by burning an artifact that you already have, meaning a duplicate, and it takes 4 artifact fragments in order to make a new artifact. And the last one, complete level 50, which we've done, yay! And the reward for this very last quest, level 50, is a neuralizer. Do I look like the Men in Black? That's what it's a reference to, because this is what you can use to unlearn your expertise points. Now, your skills are easily reset in this skill altar, but as we know, every 5 levels you get an expertise points, and the expertise points are not so easily unlearned. No. To do that, you need one of these neuralizers. And honestly, I think this is a really good thing to add to the questline, because the choices that you make early in your playthrough regarding your expertise particularly are somewhat short-sighted. You make these choices to help your immediate playthrough, but your end game is often very different from your starting game. So for instance, when it comes to fortune expertise, I did that very early on in this playthrough, but once you reach level 50 especially, you tend to get a lot more gems, and you don't really need the fortune. So it's good that they give you this neuralizer, because your needs in the late game are kind of different than your needs in the early game. Now, of course, this is craftable, but oh my, it takes an Omega Pog, which is super expensive. It uses a whole bunch of these chunks, and each one of these chunks is a whole bunch of clusters, and each one of the clusters is a whole bunch of gems. So it takes a lot of player gems to make one of those Omega Pogs. So this is extremely valuable or extremely expensive when you get it at this level. Maybe once you get to level 80, 90, 100, it's a little easier to craft, but right now, I would say most players would not be able to craft this. And the last quest is really kind of a teaser. It doesn't even say what you need to do in order to complete it. So I'm guessing maybe you need to get to level 100 in order to complete this, but it could just be a teaser. But wow, that was really kind of a grind to get all those quests done, wasn't it? But I think that's all the time we have for this episode. And this entire playthrough, honestly. It's time to talk about what comes next. Now, you may have seen my community post, but if you haven't, here's the big news. I've been invited to join a new SMP called the Leftovers. Previously, it was just called the Vault Hunters SMP, with people like CodeMC and Master CWG and a whole bunch of other really amazing creators. I am so grateful that I've been invited to join them, along with a few other players that I've yet to collab with, like Seiji. We've been talking for a while, but never have been able to do anything together, and, well, I'm really looking forward to being able to at some point. So the timing on this wrap-up works out really well. I had always meant to make the arcade mode be just a holdover until Update 12, and that's happening very, very soon, and so we should be able to start the new series right away. So as always, I want to say thank you for joining me all the way to the end. Thank you for any subscriptions, comments, likes. Those are all wonderful, wonderful things, and I truly appreciate all the positive feedback. I'll see you next time from the Leftovers SMP. For now, remember, be excellent to each other. I'm out.